Hello everyone! In keeping with my occasional video series where I go through starships you-lot named, by you-lot I mean people in comments, need a better name for that series, suggestions are welcome. Today we're continuing on that trend with a slight variation on the theme. The ships which follow come from a video I released about a month ago where I asked for your fanships. So basically you people made all the content for a video, and aside from this opening and conclusion, a little bit of commentary, I've done nothing for this video. Well, I recorded the voice and video editing. I've less than usual. Anyway, I hope you enjoy these fanships and their history. Feel free to make a comment listing your own fanship below if you feel like it, so I can make another video like this in the future. And let's continue. Or, let's start. This is James Crawford's USS Mary Celeste. This sovereign class was acquired by Section 31 via somewhat dubious methods while still under construction in the mid-24th century. Assigned the registry number NX031, nobody ever said Section 31 didn't have an ego the size of Jupiter, this Intel assault cruiser was named for the legendary ghost ship of Earth's maritime history. Like its namesake, the ship just seems to appear out of nowhere, this being thanks to an experimental Romulan cloaking device acquired by even more dubious methods. Then disappear just as quickly when its work is finished. Disavowed by Starfleet, the Mary Celeste doesn't exist in the official ship registry. Yet, countless Borg, Iconian, and other threats have been reported as falling victims to her. Her captain, Jonathan Storm, is well known in Section 31 for his rather unorthodox tactics and approach to problem solving. Under his command, his crew of misfits have become something akin to living legends, although you won't find an official active service record for anyone serving aboard the Celeste. They, like the ship they proudly serve on, don't exist to Starfleet or the Federation. Cal Ort puts forward the USS Chefrin was a 23rd to 24th century Federation Curry class. Like most Curry-class ships, it was used as a platform for deploying fighters and patrol pinnaces during the tensions with the Klingon Empire, along with the occasional service as a transport and carrier for atmospheric flyers investigating gas giants and worlds with strange or unusual atmospheres. What set the Chefrin apart, that's what I'm going with, from the other Curry-class ships was an order error during construction. Instead of the traditional Excelsior hull and saucer, the Chefrin was instead given an Excelsior refit hull and saucer. The ship was mothballed in the 2340s but reactivated during the Dominion War. The ship participating in a number of battles during the war, whilst having a reliable and well-trained crew. The ship never distinguished herself in the war. Currently, the Chefrin is serving as a reserve vessel around Miri's planet in the Delta Quadrant. Beta Quadrant. Beta. Don't know why I went Delta. Shane Smollin's offering. The USS Sentinel was a 24th century Federation starship operated by Starfleet. While visiting Deep Space Nine during the Dominion War in 2375, the Sentinel listed a surplus graviton stabilizer on its manifest. Nog, acting on behalf of Chief O'Brien, who needed the stabilizer for the USS Defiant, secured the unit in a complicated trade that brought a phaser emitter from the USS Musashi. The starship class of the Sentinel was not known, but the games Star Trek Invasion and Star Trek Armada portray it as a sovereign class, while the pocketbook's Star Trek SCE War Stories, Book 1, stated the starship belonged to the Akira class, with the registry NCC 68455, and that Lieutenant Commander Sonia Gomez, served aboard the vessel during the Dominion War as chief engineer. In Star Trek Starfleet Academy game, set in the TOS film era, the Sentinel was a Miranda-class starship and crossed the Klingon neutral zone without authorization and engaged 2 Klingon birds of prey after it was believed that the Klingons were responsible for the mysterious destruction of a Federation colony. If you can't tell, this ship is sort of a cannon, but not quite. It's a beta cannon ship. Really interesting input. Shane Nolan requested a name derived from the British Royal Navy, and HMS Tiger is my favorite battlecruiser, so I've gone that route. He didn't provide any details on the ship, just listed a name, so Shane N., if you would like me to make a more detailed entry on Tiger in future, let me know. I would be happy to do that. Jesse Carrozza, Ambassador-class USS Mutsu suffered a catastrophic magazine detonation while testing prototype quantum torpedoes during the Cardassian border wars. Prototype designs were stolen by the Obsidian Order for the Dreadnought missile. Jesse, is this based on the actual historical Mutsu that kind of went boom suddenly in harbor? Because if so, that's a nice tie-in. If not, it made me think of it, but that could just be because it's named Mutsu. Who knows? Much like Shane Nolan, Andy B. doesn't suggest a single name, but offers a naming convention. In this case, using historic U.S. Navy naming schemes. For those of you who don't know, the U.S. Navy in the past used a fairly straightforward convention for their ships, with battleships being named after states, Iowa, New Jersey, Wisconsin, Texas, yada yada. Cruisers named after cities, Little Rock, Brooklyn, also towns, but, cities, towns, where's the distinction right there? And lesser ships such as destroyers and frigates being named for killed U.S. seamen and important figures. I could see Starfleet going this route with modifications for the Federation to suit the whole Federation political environment. Maybe after the Dominion War, perhaps, though Starfleet naming conventions is something that it doesn't really exist, it's just kind of whatever the writers go for. So actually having a sort of proper set-in-stone scheme would be really, really good. Please? GGK offers his own headcanon starship, the USS Siberia, which began its life as a Ulysses-class destroyer, which should be appearing on screen now, and then in further iterations of the name there was a Galaxy-class and later a Ross-class bearing the name. I really like the idea of exploring the lineage of a name in Starfleet service over time. That might be a video topic. Not necessarily Enterprise, because we know all of the ships named Enterprise, but taking a name and just kind of saying this is where it started in Starfleet service and this is where it is by the 25th century, or whatever. That could be kind of interesting. DSC also puts forward multiple, but in brief blurbs. USS Nutka, a Nebula-class ship, was at the final battle of Cardassia to end the Dominion War. USS Poundmaker, a Steamrunner-class ship that was the key to retaking Betazed. Both ships were Tribal-class destroyers, Nutka for longer, Poundmaker for World War II honors. Nutka was also a World War II minesweeper. Then the USS Haida, an Odyssey-class ship that had a long and distinguished career, most notably saving a Gorn colony from 3 Breen warships. Haida was another Tribal-class destroyer, which I think he means historically was a Tribal class. Haida, fun fact, is actually still afloat and is a really interesting, cool ship. You can see her in Canada. And that's pretty much it for the video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't, I take no responsibility. This video is more about sharing subscriberships than actually much writing on my end. If you did enjoy the video, then give it a like. Maybe subscribe to the channel, and if you are really feeling generous, not jealous, then join my Patreon, which you can find linked below. Also, feel free to make comments about your own fanships and fan ideas that you have floating around. Be really interesting to read them. Goodbye.